I said, everybody back up. It's just hamburger. It's not worth losing an arm over, you know, and the people that were local kind of looked at me and smiled. And the ones from Wichita were kind of like, yeah, you get in my way, you're going to lose an arm, buddy.
Serious.
Yeah.
Take a moment to breathe, grab a beverage or two. We got professional guests with lots of stories for you. So take a seat right here and join us on Careers Over Beers.
Welcome to Careers Over Beers podcast. Thank you for listening and tuning in. Please like and subscribe and share. Today I have a family member on, distant family member. And if you live in the Colwich, Andale area, maybe Mays, maybe even Wichita, you'll know about his grocery store and his liquor store. And he shares the same last name as me. It's a great last name.
It's a great last name.
It's a wonderful last name. Everybody that I talk to, because I work out east Wichita, you know, they all say, "Oh, Kraus, do you guys run that grocery store out there, that liquor store out there?" Like, nah, it's my cousin. It's not me.
Almost as common as the keg.
Almost, yeah. And the only reason it's not is because you haven't been around as long.
There you go.
Where have you?
Yeah, probably downtown. We probably have been around.
I know the keg's been there a long-ass time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, go ahead and tell the world who you are. Introduce yourself to everybody.
Okay, hey, I'm Jeff Kraus. I'm a third generation in my family grocer. My grandpa, my dad, obviously, and now myself. And I've added a liquor store here in the last 4 years, just over 4 years into the grocery store. So kind of a new animal, still retail. So I had no knowledge of the liquor store business going in, except for the fact that I kind of consider myself pretty experienced in the
liquor department.
In the liquor department, but the retail, you know, kind of carries over for both. So
yeah, it's similar in that aspect. It's all sales, and you're stocking shelves still.
Yep.
It's done really well for you. So
it has done well.
Yeah, we'll get into that too more. So third generation. Do you remember what year it started?
I think my dad took it over in 1977.
That's 1977 for all you Gen
And my
Zers.
grandpa had it before that.
Okay.
Grandpa Spike had it before that. Not really sure what year he took it over.
God, it had to been.
We got to be getting, you know, we got to be within 10 years or so, I would think, of 100 years. I mean,
really?
Maybe 20 years.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I know my dad worked there when he was in high school, and that had to have been like the early to mid 70s.
Yeah. So, yeah. I remember him in my first days working with him. So I started walking down there in 6th grade on truck days, you know, to help out stocking the truck or whatever. And that's when him and, you know, a few of his buddies, local guys, you know, Steve Oss, Steve Kraus, those guys.
Jacking around in there.
Oh, yeah. We all kinds of stuff, you know. I remember setting grapes out on 100-degree days outside on top of the trash can, hoping we could make raisins, you know. I mean, that's some of my first memories of your dad. It'll work.
Yeah,
you know, raisins are just dried up grapes.
I can't even picture my dad being a young man now. It's kind of weird to think about. Such an old grouch.
He was a lot of fun. We played. We'd go over to somebody's house and play poker. I was the young dude. You know, this is a little bit later on.
Young buck.
When I was late high school and but enjoyed working with those guys and enjoyed everything about what I've done. It's the only job I've ever had. So maybe it sucks and I don't know any different.
Well, we'll talk about the beginnings here in a second. First, I want to tell everybody we're drinking some Blue Moon non-alcoholic.
Yep.
So NA is all the buzz right now. Apparently, you were telling me about that the other day. How seltzers are coming out with non-alcoholics, more beers are coming out with more non-alcoholics.
We used to not be able to give an NA away at the liquor store or the grocery store, and it's become not just for people who can't drink. I guess I'd say that's primarily it, but you've heard of dry January where people, you know, but
they take a month off or whatever.
Right. They're becoming a lot more popular. For me, it's out of necessity, but not for everybody. I guess you only get to drink so much in your life, and I used it up by 55.
Yeah, that's what they say. Well, cheers. Let's see how this tastes. Blue Moon NA.
It's the first time I've had this one. So, always liked Blue Moon before. Figured most of them taste pretty close to regular beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be really good with an orange slice.
Yes, it would.
I should have thought of that. Yeah, weird, man. I remember when I was younger, like non-alcoholic beers, you knew of it like Odell or O'Doul's. Sorry.
That's about the only choice you had.
That's all you had.
Yep.
And you never saw anybody drinking that stuff.
Right.
And now it seems like, you got so many of these in stock. How many of these things do you have in stock, you think? Like different brands?
Probably 6 or 8 at any given time.
Yeah.
You kind of rotate them out. Obviously, Heineken is the most popular that you keep all the time. Corona is one of my favorites. They make a 0.0.
Really?
Put a little lime with it. It comes in a bottle. Tastes just like a
Wow.
regular Corona.
Who would have thought, right? Yep. I know the Heineken one, you see that one on the commerul where dude's driving and he has one in his cup holder and you're like, what the?
Exactly.
I'd still feel sketched out about that.
I would too. I would too.
So, it's kind of ironic, you said out of necessity, you had some health problems going on with alcohol.
Yep.
That you buy or you open a liquor store and then all of a sudden you can't drink anymore.
That's what I kid and tell people. I'm probably the only liquor store owner in the state of Kansas that can't drink.
Can't try any of his products. Well, you consumed it your whole life and now you're just giving it to other people, right?
There you go.
You're turning them into alcoholics.
Yep. I'm not trying. Not.
But you're there for them if they need you.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I guess let's go back to the very beginning of this, when you decided you were going to work at the store and how you took it over and that whole story there.
Yeah, we actually had 2 stores, Colwich and Andale, and when the guy that ran our Andale store said he was quitting, Dad's like, okay, you got a decision to make here. I can't do both, and so I kind of bought into to the whole family business,
right.
And okay, this is what I'm going to do. I had been going to WSU night classes, and had, I don't know, probably better than half of the credits that I needed to get a degree.
What were you going to school for?
Didn't have any idea. Backup plan,
yeah,
I guess.
Just get your degree.
Yeah. Independent grocery stores are not making a lot of millionaires these days, nor were they back then. So I thought, let's have another plan in case this doesn't work out. But with the cards I was dealt and with how things played out, ended up, okay, this is it. So
did you start out at the Andale store then? Or were
no, Dad actually went over there, and
that's what I thought.
And I took care of the Colwich store.
I remember him being at Ando when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you work the store as a normal employee though before?
Yeah.
You took over a whole store?
Yeah, obviously started in 6th grade, so he didn't make me a manager right away. But start out with the little things, and then learning things as you go on.
Stocking shelves and all that jazz.
I did start running things, at a much younger age than what would normally be the case. But I don't remember probably by the time I was early 20s, I was running the show. So
right.
Got a little bit more difficult when we opened the new store, down there on 53rd Street versus where we were at in the old building up here on
the old
Street.
The one with the speakeasy below it.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was an interesting.
Did
you ever go down there?
I've been down there. Yeah, that's crazy. Most people don't know that. All you folks in college that don't know that, under the old Kraus Foods, and then it was Inca Imports. Now I don't think it's anything, is it?
I thought Danielle Steven owned it.
She does her studios out of there?
I think she owns next to it. I'm not sure who actually owns that building now.
Yeah, anyways, it's just crazy that, right across from the post office there's a real speakeasy, a big long bar. It's probably 30 feet long, isn't it?
Yeah. You have to pull up a section of the floor in the old grocery store.
Yeah.
And, it's not visible. You'd never know it was there. It's tiled over. You pull up a section, and there's stairs that go down. Big old curved bar with the glass block,
Yeah.
The walls were all painted multicolored. It was pretty interesting.
Man, in fact, if only I could see what happened in there, or if those walls could talk.
That many years ago, sure.
And there actually used to be tunnels that came out from each side too,
That's
north
true.
and south, from what I understand.
So they wouldn't see you coming and going from the same entrance.
You'd be able to sneak out of there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be a cool thing to reopen if somebody ever did that.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way you're going to make it up to code to be able to do that these days.
That's probably true, yeah. You won't be able to fit a whole crew in there like the Keg Can anyways.
No.
Yeah. Well, anyways, my dad actually told me back then when he was working, I think he was just working the meat department for you guys. He said that there were talks of opening a third store at one time over in Goddard.
Yeah, we've had numerous opportunities. I mean, just because independents have fallen away quite a bit over the years, we've had a lot of opportunities. Hey, smaller towns, would you want to come? Open this store that closed 15 years ago or whatever.
Right.
Probably most recently, that being the case with the grocery store in Cheney, the bank that owned it approached me with, hey, we're taking it over from this individual that owned it, or however that situation went down.
Mm-hmm.
But would you be interested? And I mean, I was into even looking at a lot of their financials and that sort of thing. And then that's when the liquor store opportunity came up,
Yeah.
and Jumpstart, wanted to triple their size basically, and bought out the only liquor store in Colwich. And I had some buddies that said, hey man, you could add on, and had some people that worked for my warehouse that said you wouldn't even need to add on. We could cut out a spot here, put an extra door in.
Yeah.
And much better decision than buying another grocery store, I believe.
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, you guys are killing it up there. And, I mean, it also helps that you put a lot of time and effort into getting the right booze. The prices are very competitive against Wichita stores. The big-ass stores. I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy. You go to, like, Jack's Liquor Store or Jacob's Liquor Store in Wichita. You have literally a lot of the times they're better prices than those bigger ones.
The reason for that being, in the liquor business, everybody pays the same price for things.
Yeah.
Okay? Grocery business, that's not the case.
Yeah.
But I told everybody from the start, hey, let me get this thing figured out, because things go on deal every other month, sometimes every third month. It all depends.
Mm-hmm.
Once I get this figured out, I'll be as cheap as anybody. And for the most part, that's true. I mean, like you said, I go into them all the time just because.
Just to look around.
Yeah. I do the same thing in grocery stores,
Do you really?
Oh, yeah. Especially
you go to other grocery stores?
Especially, I don't buy anything, but I want to look. Especially independent grocery stores. I don't give a shit what Walmart's doing or somebody like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, if it's an independent, I mean, we're just passing through or whatever, it's like, I got to stop, got to check it out.
That's interesting. I mean, that would make sense for somebody that's trying to, compete with everybody else. You would want to know your competitor, know your enemy.
Ideas. I mean, different things. If you happen to get a hold of an owner, you bounce some things off of them, or, what's involved with this, or why do you do this, or where'd you get this? It's interesting.
That's a weird thought. I never considered the fact that every liquor store pays the same price, but that's why you can be so competitive. I mean, obviously, stores like Walmart, Target, Dillon's, they buy things in such massive quantities that you really can't compete with that price, right?
Yeah, no, I'm not paying the same price for groceries as they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And it's not that way for beer necessarily. I think you can, for the most part it is, but bigger stores can buy in bigger bulk when it's on deal or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
store it. Always.
But as far as liquor goes,
it's same price for everybody.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I hit that. I mean, at the right time. We were liquor store was open for 3 months when COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
Huge. I mean,
everybody wants to get drunk.
Everybody had nothing to do. I mean, you were staying at home and you stopped at the liquor store every night.
Well,
I mean,
not going to work again today.
Yeah,
so.
I'd have women coming in going, I can't believe I've been in here 3 times this week. But I don't have to get up and look nice tomorrow morning for work.
Yeah,
so.
Another day at home. I guess we'll just pop open some wine for lunch, right?
It kind of got to be the way it was. There were people people from Colwich that didn't know that we were even there. Mm-hmm.
It took people a little bit to figure out, because
they figured it out pretty quick when COVID came about.
Oh, yeah. Man, what a good time for you to step in, though. I mean, Colwich's only liquor store, which, no offense, didn't have the greatest selection.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd been in there, right?
Right.
They had like 5 or 6 main name brand whiskeys,
Yeah.
the Bartons and Vianca vodkas, all your light beers, right?
All the cheap shit.
Yeah. I mean, your store, even though it's probably a smaller footprint, blows that out of the water.
Much smaller.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it
pack a
does.
lot of stuff in there.
A lot. It's 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. That's for sure. Yeah.
What a perfect time, though, you know? Colwich, I mean, you probably wouldn't have done that if they didn't close, right?
No, never. In fact, I mean, I'm not going to compete with, Dave Vandergrind, I think, is kind of behind the whole Jumpstart thing.
Right.
And, if he was going to put a liquor store in there's no way I would have done it. I mean,
Yeah.
I wanted assurances.
I don't think that
beforehand.
he's in the business of doing anything
He's
like
not.
that, though, is
He's
he?
not, no.
Yeah.
No interest in that. That's what I heard, so.
And luckily, he didn't try to throw any groceries in there either, really.
Yeah, not really.
Kind of just like it's like a big quick trip without the kitchen.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, it's great for Colwich to have something like that.
It's wonderful compared to what we used to have here.
I'm all for small business, and
Yeah.
I mean, that.
Did you ever consider building a new building for the liquor store, or?
Yeah, I did at first, but it was a whole lot more cost effective to just
yeah.
cut out of the grocery store and put another door, on the other side.
Do you think you still would at some point, or are you dead set on just keeping it as it is?
I'd like to.
You ever wanted
I'd
to
like a
make
little
it
bit
bigger?
more space. Yeah.
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 You could do a lot with the store. Think about the grocery store. If you had something like half that size,
Yes.
it'd be crazy.
I probably would cut a little bit more out of the grocery store if I were doing it right now,
Yeah.
just because the liquor store took off so well.
Mm-hmm.
And, COVID was great for things like that, but COVID was not good overall in general. I mean, it was for, grocery stores, liquor stores.
Well,
I mean,
the
we
essentials-
did well during that time, but that was pretty difficult. That was pretty stressful.
Be thankful that they considered liquor stores essential back then, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Need your booze and need your groceries.
Yep. I think I could write a book, though, or at least a dozen chapters on going through COVID. I've been through a lot of interesting things. Exactly.
Yeah, you should.
I mean, it was crazy. I mean, people that it was crazy. Every day you went to work, it was like, what the hell are we going to get today?
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What's one of your crazier stories about that? Do you have any off the top
gosh, toilet paper was the first thing.
Oh
right?
yeah,
so
that was crazy.
I mean, I've been at this retail thing for a long time, and I looked stuff over, and I happened to find these. I mean, you were limited to like a couple of cases of toilet paper a truck, and I found these two codes that were actually pallet codes, and they had tried to eliminate all those, but they missed one. I caught it. I found it, and I ordered these, and I ended up getting 2 pallets of toilet paper, plus a bunch of other cases when nobody had any. And there was a week in there, a week or two, where we had stuff and nobody in Wichita did, and you could just see a line of cars coming from the east.
That's crazy.
Coming from Wichita and coming in, and then I had my locals, and they were all like, "Oh my God, you got a limit of 1 on toilet paper. What happens if we run out?" And I kept a good supply in the back room, and it was like, you won't run out. All right. Don't worry. And I mean, I made so many little old ladies happy. They'd come in there and you have no toilet paper on the shelf. I'll take care of you. Just drive around back. I mean, I literally did that with people. I had them drive around back. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was
like a drug dealer for
exactly.
toilet paper.
Exactly.
I got the hookup.
There was limits on everything. I mean, I have this one that sticks out in my mind. We had a limit of like 3 packages on bread, and that was, 3 different package of hamburger buns, a loaf of bread, package of hot dog buns. Boom, you're done. But my daughter, she was like 14, working up there, and this is one Saturday, and this guy comes up, and I knew him. He comes in there, and he was a fairly good shopper, and he's got a bunch of groceries, and he had 4 different kinds of bread,
Yeah.
and my daughter's like, and he just starts jumping all over her, and I get up, I can hear it from the office, and I'm like, dude, and trying to just calm the guy down, and he's just getting crazier and crazier. And I said, Leah, just go ahead and sell it to him. I said, it's not worth fighting over a loaf of bread. And he's like, you're right, like he was going to come in there and kick my ass if I didn't let him have that last loaf of bread. No,
and
I mean,
you probably saw some grown adults turn into children during that time.
Pretty
period.
much. Yeah.
Isn't
I mean, I'd have people come in, and well, if I can only have 4 packages of these brats, it was the same limit on meat. It was like, I've got people coming over. I need 8. What am I going to do? And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'll just come back every day until I can get enough. I'm like, do what you got to do. I'm doing what I got to do.
Yeah.
Hopefully you buy something else when you come in.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, I didn't even really think about that aspect of COVID. We all experienced it in our own ways,
Oh, there were, and being in business for myself gave me some flexibility. I mean, an independent had a little bit more flexibility. You work at Dillon's, you're going to get what you get,
Uh-huh.
But I literally, it'll take me maybe 2-3 hours to write an order for the grocery store twice a week. I get twice a week, grocery deliveries.
Mm-hmm.
I was spending about 15 doing it because we had limits on the number of cases we could order from our warehouse, and that didn't equate to what you got. It equated to what you ordered. So if you ordered stuff that they didn't have in stock, it still counted against your order. So I would painstakingly go through. I'd check like 20 cases at a time, find out what they had in inventory. Am I going to get this stuff? Because if I'm not, there's no point in ordering it. So I literally would spend, probably 12 to 18 hours writing an order in order to try and keep things on the shelf. But, it helped me because I had stuff that other people didn't have. And
right, yeah.
people got to learn that.
Paid off.
Yeah. Really, we're still kind of seeing it, especially the meat department.
Really?
Oh, yeah. People that came out from Wichita for the meat, just because we cut all our own meat fresh, we make our own sausage. You're aware of German rub sausage.
Oh, yeah.
People came out, they tried this stuff. They were like, wow, they grind their hamburger every day. Mm-hmm. Hamburger's another funny story. So I had a guy that used to be a meat cutter for me. Well, he was going back to school, and of course at WSU they were off, So he's like, I might as well come in and cut meat for you every day. So people got to know that we were going to put hamburger out at 9:00, and this is when we had all these people from Wichita coming out and everything, and they started calling. We just always tell them 9:00 we'll have it out. Well, I remember a Saturday morning, and it's like 5 till 9, and there's like 5 vultures out there, okay, with their carts, and 2 of them were local, and I knew them, and we were back there making hamburger, and he comes out with a big old, tray of hamburger, and these people are just like, phew, and I'm like, I said, everybody back up. It's just hamburger. It's not worth losing an arm over, and the people that were local kind of looked at me and smiled. And the ones from Wichita were kind of like, yeah, you get in my way, you're going to lose an arm, buddy.
Serious.
Just all kinds of stuff like that during COVID.
People wanted their burger, huh?
Oh, it's just insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And they get to know that. Customers are nuts, man.
Oh, yeah.
People are nuts about their groceries, about their things. Like, they get in these weird little grooves where you know how people are.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It got worse during COVID. It got a lot worse.
You're still seeing it with the meat department.
I think people are still, I recognize people that I first saw during COVID that I think either came from probably Mays or maybe West Wichita, and they'll come out now on weekends and they'll buy like 6 packages of hamburger, to get them through for a couple weeks because they discovered they liked it so much better.
Yeah, it's so much better.
Or our sausage, they'll buy that, and so I think that I think it's still helping out, and even some locals, I think thought, wow, these guys they had stuff when I literally would hear people in there on their cell phones calling their friends from Wichita, hey, I'm up here at my local grocery store, and they've got pasta sauce, and you can't find it anywhere else.
Yeah.
Come in, and if you want to come out here, you want me to pick you up some. And I don't know. I think it's still a little bit of carryover from that.
Well, there's things that you definitely can't get anywhere else. I know people from out of town that will drive to your store just for the sausage alone.
Oh, sure.
It's so unique and it's so delicious. It's like you can't find anything like that anywhere else.
Yeah.
The best you can get in Dillon's is like a Johnson broad or something, which, those are all fine, but your guys' stuff is like a real authentic German recipe, right? Isn't that an old recipe?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
From way back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wonderful. I love it.
I eat a Johnsonville now, and I'm just like, there's just no flavor here.
It's just, you can tell they don't take their time with it. It's just mass produced.
No flavor. Yeah.
Yeah. And the burger, I noticed you're putting 70% out there now.
Not always, but sometimes.
I like the fatty stuff, man. I know people stray away from that.
I've heard that cost is going to go up more. I mean, price that just a couple stories I've heard about what farmers actually got for the product.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez, that's as high as it's been in a while.
Yeah.
So
is beef still up quite a bit?
Yeah, but I think it's gonna get worse coming up here. I really do. I think there's gonna be a spell. I don't know how long. You never do, but.
Does it ever annoy you that people will be like, I can't believe Jeff was raising his prices again, when it's literally from your supplier?
For a while, maybe that was an issue, but it's everywhere now.
It's everywhere.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's.
I'm sure people still blame you, though, sometimes.
Oh, they do. They do.
But it's not like you're just doing it to put more money in your pocket.
They can't go somewhere else and find it for less and say, wow, he's really trying to get to us, It's just not there. I mean.
Unless you go to like Sam's Club or Costco, but they order massive quantities of stuff.
Yeah, and you got to buy a big whole piece. And,
yeah, you do.
Today, most people don't shop that way. Most people shop for tonight.
Right. Yeah, I know I do.
People don't keep a freezer full of meat anymore. The main thing I hear, forgot to thaw it out this morning. I mean,
oh yeah,
it's just a different mentality than it
me.
used to be. I mean, you weren't basing your day around what am I going to plan for supper here. It was both mom and dad got to work 8 hours today, and we'll deal with supper when we get off, and we'll grab something and go.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm
if it's a pizza at Gambino's or a steak at Kraus's or a burger on the grill, then
Yep.
That's what it is.
I'm one of those people. And sometimes I wonder if they, like Dylan or one of your employees, notices me coming in day after day because I'm back for another steak. It's 5 o'clock. Grab a case of beer. It's funny. Speaking of like planning ahead and stuff like that, back in the day, my grandma Gladys, that passed away a couple years ago.
Yep.
She was 92. This had to have been in like the 50s or 60s. She said that Spike, when he was running the show up at the grocery store, he was so diligent and had things planned out. Like, I guess you could call him a cheap ass in a way.
Oh, sure.
Where he wouldn't want to overorder. She said that, she would make fried chicken every Thursday night. So she would go up to the store Thursday morning and she'd pick up a chicken from Spike. And if she missed that, he would call and bitch her out, bitch my grandpa out. Like, the hell, I ordered this chicken for you. What the hell are you doing? She's like, geez, you're basing it all off of me. Like,
my favorite story about him is, and it was up at the old store. So this has been a lot of years ago. But I was a, young whippersnapper working up there, and I was slicing some lunch meat for somebody, and it's probably before I was 18 and supposed to be on the slicer, but that's the way it was back then. And that bologna's got that little metal end, that ties it together clip there. And you don't want to get that in the slicer, obviously. So I was getting back there close to it, and I took that piece of bologna off and got ready to toss it in the trash. And he happened to be up there. He wasn't working there anymore. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, well, I'm back to the end. I throw that away. And he's like, don't you throw that away. I mean, he was just ripping my ass. And he peeled that thing off, and he took that piece of bologna and ate it. You don't ever throw anything away. From now on, you save those in a bag for me, and I'll come up and pick them up.
And I'll eat them. That's an old school mentality right there.
That's right. That's right. You don't throw anything away.
Yeah, man, that's
I'll make bologna pie if I have to.
Grandma was just like that,
Yeah.
She would buy a fried chicken or a rotisserie chicken, and she would just eat that for an entire week. That was all she had.
Well, she could probably make a chicken pie. She could make any kind of pie.
She would make anything she had out of the fridge leftovers.
She was good.
Yeah, she told me for a while there that you were one of the only places she could find lard at.
Yeah, and then
I don't think we dropped anymore.
It. No. Yeah.
No one buys it except old ladies.
Exactly. Nobody knows what you use it for. I mean, it's one of those products.
Pie crust.
Yeah, exactly.
Which who makes that anymore, right?
Right. Yeah. Is it homemade? Yeah. I got that thing out of the freezer, and I put. Yeah. No, that's not homemade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. People don't know that. They don't have that skill anymore.
Do you have any other weird customer stories or weird customers that do some stuff every week that's like, what the hell?
Oh, people have their routines.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, that. And,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to give anybody up, but
yeah, you don't want to say any names.
But. A lot of them are current. I mean, if I sat down, I could remember all kinds of old stuff. I mean, when I'm 55 now, I mean, when you've been doing it that long, you're going to have millions of stories. I mean, I got a story here a year, maybe 2 years ago, probably. I got a check in the mail from a guy I thought maybe I knew who it was, but it was from way back, and apparently he had something in his will and sent me a check for like $250 and said, I really appreciate you helping me out in a time of need. I don't even know what I did. I mean, I have no idea what it was for.
Just
but
random.
Probably, he needed some groceries way back, know, and when he was hurting or something or other, and I said, go ahead, take them. But just, that's the gratifying part of it. I mean,
well, you become a well-known face. I mean, everybody knows you and interacts with you, right?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of advantages to being in business for yourself, except for stories like that and your own schedule, basically.
What are some of the tough things about running a business on your own?
Employees.
Employees?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
That's the part I hate the most. I mean, hiring
dealing with
them,
people.
Yeah, hiring them, firing them, because then you got to train another one.
Yeah.
It's just I hate it. Schedule.
I could see that.
Just don't like any of it.
I wouldn't be a fan of that either.
I mean, I don't sit in the office all day. I still do everything else. I still unload trucks. I still cut meat. I still, I clean the bathrooms if they got to be cleaned. I mean, so it's not like I sit up in the office all day and, have all day to do this stuff. And I just want it to, hey, just show up when you're supposed to. Don't quit.
Which that's even hard nowadays to find, right? Somebody that shows up on time.
Gotten way worse. That's another strike one up for COVID.
Yeah, people don't want to go
where
to work.
we lose. No, it's way different. I mean, it was getting worse already, but COVID just like destroyed it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what kids do. I guess.
I don't know. I mean, my dad says the same thing where he works, that it seems like it's a worse problem every year. Maybe it's the younger generation. Maybe it's because
I think it is. I mean, I think that's part of it for sure. People
just don't want to go. They don't have times anymore. Like, times are out the window.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of people now that I interact with are like, I was raised, if you're going to be there at 6 o'clock, you get there early or you're late, right?
Yeah.
And it's like kids now, they show up 10 minutes, 15 minutes late. You know, it's like, what the hell?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
You know? What are some weird changes that you've seen in consumption? Have you seen any weird trends with like certain products or anything like that over the years?
A lot more. It's gone to a convenience-based society. I mean, that's why people, shop for a meal tonight. I mean, anything that's more prepared is better. Nobody fries chicken like your grandma anymore.
No.
I mean, it's just not even cost effective. I mean, when we've got a fryer up there and we can do it for, less than $10 for a chicken.
Kitchen.
Yeah. Who wants to fry anything,
right.
For that? I mean, it just doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah.
Just like making a homemade pizza. I mean, who's not going to just order Gambino's?
Literally the only reason is if you enjoy doing that and it's like a hobby,
right.
Otherwise, you're not saving a dime.
No. Yeah, that I mean, and smaller sizes. I mean, the institutional cans, they call them, or number 10 cans. I mean, those are the big ones. I don't sell any of those except for when they have a funeral dinner anymore,
Really?
Who's gonna use that many green beans at a time? I mean, it's just, there's no families with 13 kids anymore like I had when I was going to school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had two classmates in grade school that were both the youngest of 13 kids in their family. That's the way families used to be in Colwich.
Massive.
I mean, it's not.
Yeah, and they would prepare a lot more, like you said.
You had to.
The mom would go shop on Monday, and she would get groceries for the next 2 weeks, right?
Right.
Now it's like me, like I'm walking in there almost every day,
Yeah. And ad shopping. I mean, that's what they did back then.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like, okay, so I know that I use, X amount of hamburger a week. It's on sale this week. I'll buy enough for a month. You know? People don't do that anymore.
No.
I mean, that's just not.
No, because like in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking I can come back anytime and get that.
Yeah, it's going to be here. I mean,
why?
Don't need to let it
fill
sit
up
in my
car.
fridge.
Yeah, exactly. And then half the time I have these grand ideas of doing something, and I'll let meat sit in the fridge for so long. I'm like, oh, damn it.
What am I going to do?
I'm stuck with that today. I can't let it go any longer. Yeah. That definitely is interesting. My grandma would always talk about how chickens have changed so much. She said that back in the day, the chicken breasts were like half the size that they are now.
Yeah, they're huge.
The thighs
now.
were different. She said, I don't understand it. She would cut them in half when she fried them at the end there. She's like, it's just not the same thing. It's not. Yeah. She said the whole bird used to be a lot smaller. And, she's old school. She would buy the whole bird, cut it down into fryer pieces, right? And yeah, she's like, I just don't know what they're doing to these things. Do you notice things like that with products?
Yeah, I mean, and you mentioned chickens. That's definitely gotten that way.
They've changed a lot.
They're huge now. Yeah, it's hard to find
pump
small
them
chickens.
Full of so many hormones.
I guess.
Don't let them move.
Yeah,
crazy.
And of course, there's the whole thing that's been ongoing, forever, where a 3-pound can of coffee is now down to what, 26 ounces. I mean, it's not even close to 3 pounds.
Yeah.
A 5-pound bag of sugar doesn't exist. I mean. Everything's
it's little things like that that they change that people don't recognize.
And they don't change the price. And now those things are kind of already, have already been priced in or kind of already a done deal. But, you look at a bag of chips, and Frito-Lay is famous for it. I mean, if we can cut a half an ounce or 3/4 of an ounce out of these bags of chips and stamp the same price on them, then boom, look how much more money we make.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's gotten really quite out of hand lately.
Yep. And it's only going to get worse, probably.
I'm sure.
I don't see him ever changing for the better.
Nope. And
in that regard.
Yeah. And another thing that's interesting is the way people look for those. We talked about sale ads. People don't even look at those things anymore. We've gone from distributing those in the Eagle, and having coverage through the mail of people that didn't get the Eagle, to going down to the Clarion, little local newspaper, and mailing a few out to people that wanted them, to just recently. I mean, I even eliminated that. I mean, we've got a handful of copies when you come in the store. It's online. It's on our website, but people just don't look at that stuff anymore.
I got to be honest. Really don't. I got to be honest. I don't. I mean, I don't even think about it. Usually I'm in a rush and I'm trying to get in there and grab a steak and get the grill going.
Yeah.
And I'm not even thinking about. I mean, it's
you don't
bad.
give a shit if broccoli's on sale.
It sounds bad. I should, but it's not something that I consider really.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people my age do.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't know any of my friends that go through ad books and find coupons and stuff like. Yeah. My grandma would probably sit there for all day and just sort things out.
And she'd be clipping coupons instead of getting them on her phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's amazing with what it costs to upgrade to that technology, though, how things are constantly changing with that, from our rewards cards to the digital coupons to, I mean, there's so much technology involved with it now. I mean, I still remember, and your dad does, I'm sure as well, if you had a canned good, like a can of green beans, we had these old stamps with the purple ink. You'd hit them in there, and you know how you got it off when the price was wrong and you had to change it? Hairspray.
Really?
Hairspray and a paper towel, and that stuff would come right off, and you'd have to restamp that can. And then if it wasn't a can, those didn't work very well on like other packages. You had those old price guns that printed that little white sticker on them.
The ones where they would go...
Yep.
You always see in like the shows.
And when the price changed, you got it right over the old one, so that's all you could see. And it'd be funny because like slower moving items that you might have had sitting there a while and gone through a few price changes, that sticker would be like this high on them.
That thick, full of prices. Yeah. People are trying to peel it off, see what the previous one is.
Maybe I can get a better deal if
I. One thing that's going on in the world right now. Here, I'll get you another beer. I wonder how many of these it would take to get drunk. Probably like
some of them have
10.
0 and the rest are like less than 0.1.
Yeah. This one says less than 0.5.
Yeah.
So it'd probably take you like 10 to equal 1 beer.
Probably. Yeah.
That's assuming it's 0.5. It's probably less.
Probably.
Yeah. Those are good though. I feel
they
like
are good.
I feel like I'm drinking beer.
Yeah.
It's kind of psychological in a way.
I have there's a Boulevard lemon wheat that I really like too. That one's good.
Yeah, it almost kind of tricks your mind.
It does.
Into thinking that you're doing it.
It does. I've been to AA meetings before and go occasionally. And I had a guy tell me, he's like, yeah, I remember the first time I started drinking, I thought, well, I can try these NAs, I can't drink, but I can try these. He said, after 3 beers, I thought I was drunk.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like.
It's like your mind makes you think that you're
playing
drinking.
tricks on you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're Were
you a beer drinker before? Or were you were more liquor, right?
Yeah. Yeah, more liquor. I mean, it depended on the situation, if we're going out to the lake or something.
Lake is that calls
fill the
for
coolers
beers.
with beers, yeah.
Yep. It is odd though. This does make me feel like I'm drinking right now. One thing I was gonna say is like the state of the world. You see all these places like on the coast where people are stealing and they're letting them go and they're watching this happen. Crime is through the roof. I'm sure you haven't seen that much in a small town, but you do have thieves, I'm sure.
We do. Yeah. Yeah. That's a thing that really, really bothers me. Always has. Probably because I've been in business for myself for years. So I mean, people that don't want to make an honest living, that want to prey off of somebody else. I mean, and that's gone from people that write bad checks, which checks we basically don't even accept anymore.
Yeah, I mean, who does that these days?
To people stealing things off the shelf, which we don't have a huge problem with, I don't think. But we still catch people from time to time. And I've had lots of talks, mostly with little kids whose parents bring them back and say, little Johnny grabbed this and didn't, put it in his pocket. And you need to tell him how bad stealing is, And of course, I don't feel any animosity towards him, but I do towards people like that, to whereas now it's scams.
If you're an adult doing it, like, what are you doing?
Exactly. Get a life.
What kind of person are you?
Go get a real job.
Yeah.
I've told plenty of people that.
There's plenty of people that are willing to help you out. I mean, you can ask. Look at the power of social media now. Do you really need to go steal from a small grocery store?
If you came to me and said, hey, I can't feed my kids tonight. I need, some ham and a loaf of bread.
You'd probably hook them up.
I'd say, have at it, man.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. No reason to do that.
Crazy. What's the biggest theft that you've ever caught? Has anybody tried to do some real like some major stuff, or is it just little things here and there?
Probably the biggest one that I can think of offhand was back when we were at the old store, and we had some outside coolers, some standalone coolers, and one of them had produce and beer in it. That's where we kept all our extra stock of beer. And I kind of think it was probably an inside job. This is back in the day, after your dad and that crew. But probably somebody who worked for me and intentionally maybe left that open or something.
Really?
I don't know. But it was like probably I don't know 2-3 years later. I went in one morning and I was parked in back over there, and there was an envelope inside a Ziploc bag taped to that cooler, and there was a note inside that said, sorry for the beer I stole back, and such
no
and
way.
such. And there was the money for it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow. Their heart grew like the Grinch.
They just grew up, is my guess. It was a younger person.
They were probably a teenager, and your brain's not fully developed. Once you hit your mid-20s, you're like, damn it. The hell was I doing?
I gotta start getting this right.
Oh, you've never had any like cash register robberies or anything like that, though?
No, never been confronted like that.
Yeah, I mean, luckily.
And I've always told them, hey, show them that it pulls out and give them the whole thing.
Give it all.
Yeah.
It's not worth losing your life over.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Pay enough money in insurance, it should cover it.
Do you have people that buy a lot of lotto tickets up there?
Yeah, your lottery regulars too. Yeah.
Dumping all their money out for it.
Yeah, I have a hard time with that. I mean, it's the odds.
I guess if you have the money and you want to do it for fun, whatever.
I do it occasionally.
I do too. I mean, when the Powerball's up, I'm definitely in there buying tickets.
Yeah, like $5 million when it's down is not enough for you, right?
No,
I mean,
not
that's
me.
what I tell people.
I wouldn't be able to make it with that. That is a funny thing, though. It's like what? 100 million's not good enough?
Oh yeah, they ask all the time. What's Powerball up to? Does it matter? I mean,
you're going to be fine no matter what.
If you win, you're
going to be good.
You're an icon. You're good.
Yeah, you're going to be good. What else was I going to ask? Something up that route.
all kinds of, habits people have.
Yeah.
In that way. I mean,
Alcoholics.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I've definitely.
You see people coming in all the time buying booze. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah, and I've refused before.
Have you really?
Oh, absolutely.
Because they're just so bad. You just know they have a problem.
And then I've I mean, if you come in and you're visibly drunk, I mean, I'm not going to sell it to you. And I've also had parents of individuals that were old enough that they're trying to get a problem of theirs under control, and I've gotten ripped for that. Hey, you're selling him this. There's really no
how are
way
you
around
to
it.
that?
I mean, I've got several employees that work over there. I mean, do you want me to hang his picture on the wall?
Yeah.
And,
that's a tough thing to do. I mean,
it is tough.
You're not the one that really determines whether you should or shouldn't be drinking. Like you said, visibly drunk or something, I understand, but
it's one thing. Yeah, if they're sober and talking to you and their parents don't want them buying it.
It comes up to personal responsibility, as unfortunate as that is. Mm-hmm. What about underage kids? You get that every now and then? Mm-hmm. Trying to buy stuff?
Not a lot legitimately. I mean, we definitely have, but more so when the state sends somebody in. That happens at both the grocery store and the liquor store. Yeah, whether it's tobacco or alcohol, trying to get you to. And I mean, I've just pretty much trained my people that, hey, you're going to get fined $500. The store is going to get fined $500. I'm not covering your share. So
have you ever been busted?
IDs. Yes.
Really?
Yeah. It's been a long time, but yeah.
That's crazy that they do that, isn't it? Tobacco's 21 now, right?
It is, and they're really not trying to trick you. I mean, they a lot of times will tell you, hey, it'd be a good time, for somebody to come in once school's out here, in May, or who they send in. It's pretty obvious that they're not from here and that they're not 21. So
yeah.
If you don't check them, you're asking. I mean, it's through your own fault.
Yeah. I mean, I would figure liquor would be a bigger consequence. Is it the same thing? Or?
I'm not positive. We have not ever been caught there.
Yeah, because I've always heard like you can get your license stripped or something maybe if you sell underage.
I'm sure, especially if you were repeat offender.
Yeah. I know they crack down on kegs pretty hardcore. Like if you order a keg from somewhere, you have to like sign for it and everything so that they can trace it to a party.
There is so much paperwork involved with that. I mean, my liquor store, I don't really have the room to store them.
Yeah.
And I don't want the headache of doing it. So
yeah. I mean, why would you? The only people you're going to have doing it are people like me, dumb drunks that put a kegerator in their house.
Yeah. And that's not so bad. I mean, it's the ones that, you got to worry about getting the empties back.
They're going to buy it. Well, yeah. You don't want somebody to buy it and then take it out to a field party.
Right.
All of a sudden, Kraus Foods sold this.
Which is the way it used to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got a whole bunch of 18-year-old kids that are leaving there and, getting wrecks or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it comes back to you.
Don't want to be any part of that.
Hell no. Hell no. It's crazy that they raised tobacco to 21.
Yeah. I mean,
I would have been so mad if I was 18.
Oh, it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean,
it's crazy. You can join the military, but you can't buy a pack of smokes.
Yeah. I mean, you can most, I'm sure, do smoke over there when they're, wherever they're stationed. Yeah. When they're 18, so why not at home?
Most of those countries, like I know a kid that just got back from Germany. He wasn't 21. He said they
can drink too.
Yeah, you can drink.
Yeah,
I mean, isn't that crazy? In your own country, you're defending. You can't drink in, but then you get stationed over in Germany or somewhere like that, and it's all good. Mm-hmm. I think it's like 16 over there, and even then they don't really pay attention.
In Rome, you do as the Romans do, I guess.
I guess
at
so.
Home, you gotta follow the good old state of Kansas, or
it was 18 to drink when you were younger, right?
Yeah, I just missed that. Oh. Yeah, like by like a year or so. Yeah. Damn. Yeah, I just missed that.
They probably weren't still as strict though back then.
Oh, not at all.
When you were 18.
No, I had a full beard. And I had a fake ID, but I almost never needed it.
Yeah.
I mean, I hardly ever got carded.
Yeah. It was a different world for sure.
Oh, yeah, everything.
That was the old get pulled over and
poured out.
You look pretty drunk. You better get home safe.
Yeah.
Go straight home now,
Yeah.
Jeff. Don't be going to other parties.
It's almost like I've told you that story. I had one where we were just leaving town with a buddy that still lives here, and we were both well beyond where we should have been. And he got pulled over a half mile out of town. Gave him all the tests. He didn't pass one of them, and two other cops had showed up, and I was talking with them while this older officer was giving my buddy the test. And I told them, I was like, hey man, I'm fine, which was not true, but can you just let me take him home? I mean, we're half mile back here, and so yeah, he didn't pass, and the older cop's like, hey, you guys go ahead and test him. I gave him my spiel,
Right.
I said, I'm sober, give me the test, and if I fail, you can take us both to jail. If I pass, you let me take him home. So the two younger cops, all they did was the pen test, and they're like, yeah, I think he's good. And I was like, okay, man.
Right on.
He let us go. We took his car home. We hopped in mine, and we headed right back out to the party.
Yeah. Yep. And you paid attention a little more this time. Not pulled over.
Yeah. We're not going to get caught by that guy again.
Yeah. Different world, man. Yeah. Totally different world. What do you think the future looks like for small town businesses? I'm sure you think about that often.
Yeah, grocery stores is difficult. I mean, there's just not many of us left. I've been to so many auctions over the years for independent grocery stores. If you're, it's a proven fact. The further you are from a major city, the better you're going to do. So, there's still going to be a market for it in Western Kansas or wherever. That's not in close proximity to a Wichita or a Kansas City or something like that, but it's just going to get more and more difficult for us. I mean, Wichita's too close, growing. Keeps coming out this way.
Yeah.
Even for some of those towns that might be on the fringe and might be okay, you're getting Dollar Generals moving in, and
there's a whole monopoly taking those over too.
Oh yeah,
those Dollar Generals are spreading all throughout the small towns.
I was in the one in Garden Plain for the first time. I hadn't been over there in a while. I actually didn't really even know they had one, but I went in there and they've got a lot. I mean, it's
a lot of junk.
It's not just it's not like it was 20 years ago or when they first started, and it was crap. And
they actually have some kind of groceries now. And
stuff too. They've got milk, they've got eggs,
Yeah.
they've got lunch meat, prepackaged. They don't have like fresh
Nothing
meat.
compared to what you guys have.
Well, but their selection, amazingly, was pretty good. Their shelves were high and deep, and everything was like single facing. So they had options. I mean, it wasn't what I was expecting. I don't go in places like that much, but yeah, they've changed too. I mean, everybody adapts, I guess.
They do. I mean, one thing that I think might be on your side is a trend that's happening right now where everybody's like trying to shop local. It seems like. Even though it is a bigger problem that Wichita's growing and Target and Walmart's not hurting by any means, but people my generation and younger there's this whole new thing where they're like all about shopping local, using smaller stores, getting local produce, fresh cut beef like you guys do. A lot of things like that you can't find those bigger corporations are starting to catch on a little bit and act like they're giving you farm fresh stuff. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of people that would rather go to Kraus's than go to Target.
Yeah, you have to find your niche. I mean, you find what you're good at. We've talked about our sausage. Yeah. That's one product you can't get anywhere else. You kind of need to hammer that. I mean, you need to
your fresh meat selection.
Fresh in general.
Yeah.
Whether that's, produce, meat, dairy, whatever. That's really the only place where you're going to gain on the bigger stores.
Right.
Anybody can sell Miracle Whip. It's all the same. The hamburger might not be. You want it in a tube that got put in that tube 2 weeks ago, or do you want it in a package that I ground this morning?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You guys honestly have a better meat section, like selection, even quantity-wise, than some of these stores like Target.
Yeah, depending on what time of day you go in.
Yeah, seriously.
I've been in Target at night before, like after the meat department was closed, and it's like, wow, there's nothing here.
There's nothing there.
I mean, it's wiped out.
Nothing there. And if there is something there, you can tell it was made in a factory.
Yeah.
And who knows?
It's all that prepackaged stuff.
It's all that prepackaged stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
So, hopefully that trend continues to grow because I love the fact that people like to support local. What are you going to do when your grocery store leaves your town, What are you going to do?
People don't realize it until it's happened.
Think about the convenience. If you know how many times I'm in the middle of cooking something and I realize, oh shit, I need heavy cream for this, and I can run up to the store and it takes me 2 minutes.
Or you can go to Walmart and it's going to take you 25.
25,
30.
And then it's a madhouse, and all they have is self-checkout now. Don't ever do that.
I still won't use the self-checkout.
No,
I don't.
No, screw
ever.
them. I'll wait in line.
I'll go in with my wife to Target or wherever, and she'll be like, come on, go over here. I'm like, go ahead.
That's another thing.
I just got a thing against it. I'm not going to do it.
You can hold that over their heads, man. That's something we're never going to do self-checkout here in Colwich. You know, people don't want to deal with that shit.
Not in my generation. I don't plan on it.
Oh no, me neither. People are getting fed up with it in my generation. It's just, how are you going to make me scan all my shit
and then check your receipt at the door?
Yeah. And on top of that,
hey, you screwed up. You're fired. You can't check yourself out anymore.
It takes me twice as long because I don't know where the barcodes are, and then all of a sudden it's error, wait for attendant. I'm like, what the hell am I? I'm gonna work here, you know. So as long as you have people checking people out, you got that going for you. You know, I don't think people are gonna
save a local job too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. You guys still do paper bags too, don't you?
We do. Yeah.
Mainly plastic for the most part.
Primarily plastic, but you have certain customers that they want the paper.
It was all paper back in the day, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Plastic didn't exist whether you're talking about a bag or a credit card. That's another thing. When they first came to me, when State Bank of Colwich, because it wasn't Legacy Bank yet, first approached me about putting credit card machines in, I was like, you're crazy. Nobody's going to use a credit card to pay for their groceries. I mean, nobody's going to do that, you know? And
isn't that crazy to think about now?
And they didn't to start with.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very not common, you know?
You had one of those old card machines that you would have to click.
Well, we didn't even do that.
Oh, really?
I mean, people just didn't. I mean, for a short period of time. But people just, I mean, you know, you put things on credit card like Christmas presents when you didn't have any money to cover Christmas this year, you know, not groceries, not what you're eating every night. I mean, you know, that just seemed ludicrous to me. I mean,
it's such a different mentality, you know,
it is,
because now it's like
90% of your transactions. Yeah.
Because I get points from it. I treat it like a debit card.
Yeah.
But I guess that wasn't a thing back then, was it?
No, not at all.
Everybody wrote a check.
Yep.
Even if it was
cash or check.
Even if it was a 80
and the
cent
old
line.
charge book, of course, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Gladys is in the charge book.
Yeah.
Up until she died, really.
Yep.
It wasn't a book anymore. It was on the computer, but
crazy,
she still used it.
Yeah,
that's charge accounts.
You won't find that anywhere else anymore. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, those are kind of all of our charge accounts are grandfathered in.
Yeah.
We're not adding those anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
you have to be
those
trustworthy.
people love the convenience of coming up there and I can just charge it. You mean,
oh, definitely.
You use your credit card or anything. You just tell them, I give them my phone number and I got a charge account here.
Yep. My parents have one, and you know, they made this deal with me a while back that if I meal prep all of their food for the week, I'll make them like 10 lunches or whatever that they can eat throughout the week. That I can just charge whatever to the account. So I use it all the time when I'm up there.
Absolutely.
I'll buy a pack of chicken or a bunch of steaks or whatever and just charge it.
Yep.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Feels so cool.
Can't do that at Dollar General or Walmart.
No. You can't do that anywhere. You can't do that anywhere anymore, man. And you know what? I'm actually old enough. If you remember this, you know you're getting old. When Kraus Foods had a video section.
Oh, yeah.
Videotapes and DVDs.
That was a huge pain in my ass.
I can imagine.
Gosh.
I remember going through that thing and trying to grab movies all the time. My mom would be like, no. I remember grabbing 8 Mile up there when it first came out. She wouldn't let me get it. But yeah, because you wouldn't keep the tapes in the cases, right? They would be behind the counter.
The counter, yeah. It was just an empty jacket out front with numbers on them, and the numbers would get crossed up and people wouldn't return them, and people would, not record one because one of the employees was taking it home himself, and then it wouldn't come. It was just another huge hassle.
So you were glad to get rid of that too?
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
There are certain things that the income is not worth the trouble. That's one of them.
A lot of people don't remember that, probably,
Yeah, they remember going to Blockbuster or Family Video or whatever. Yep. I don't think a place like that exists anymore, does it?
I think Family Video was the last one holding out, and they closed probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. But I'm getting to that age now, too, where I say a few years ago, and it could be 10,
I don't even know if we have access to play one at home anymore. I mean,
you don't have a VCR hooked up anymore?
I don't know. My wife's got Hulu and Netflix and YouTube TV. I mean, we don't ever watch anything but that. So.
Yeah. You know what's really chapping my ass lately is the NFL forcing you to stream everything.
That's ridiculous.
Even if you buy Sunday Ticket now, you can't get every game. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. I dropped Sunday Ticket like 2 years ago.
Yeah, you can buy Sunday Ticket, which you would think, I can watch any game in the NFL. Nope, not the ones on Peacock and stuff now.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, I didn't know that, but that makes sense.
And the NFL, they are shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, I had the NFL ticket from the first year it came out until like 2 years ago. And I just got so sick of them constantly raising the price and then offering it to new customers for free. And I'm like, wait, so the guy that's been with you for 20 years gets punished with the huge price, and somebody that hadn't paid you a dime gets it for free? That don't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
So I just said, don't need it, man.
Yep. Those video sections are long gone, man. Well, do you have any like misconceptions or anything that you want to clear the air? People that might think about grocery stores, or anything you want people to know about it?
Oh, I mean, I think there's a common misconception that like smaller independent, I say grocery stores because that's what I'm involved with, but I suppose that could go for other industries as well. I think there's a misconception out there that their prices are higher and they don't have as much selection. Mm-hmm. Both things can be true, but are not like a general rule. I mean, I always tell people that if you just use common sense shopping, and then, let's say ribeye is your steak of choice, and you see that they're on sale for $9.99 a pound this week instead of regular price of $16.99 a pound. Mm-hmm. Hey, buy enough for a couple of weeks, and you're not going to get it any cheaper anywhere else. Yeah. I mean, if you do a little bit of planning, and also the selection part of it. I mean, obviously we're a lot smaller store. We're limited on what we can carry, which is not as much as what Dillon's or Walmart or wherever can. But if you're a loyal customer and you're going to come buy something, I'm going to get it in. Yeah. I mean, it works the same way at the liquor store. I mean, if you stop buying it and it goes outdated, well, then I'm going to drop it. But if you want something, I'm not going to tell you, I don't really want to order that.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you know that they're going to be there buying it all the time, sure.
Exactly. I mean, so
why wouldn't you?
The selection is limited, yes, but you can still get those products. Just talk to me. I mean,
exactly. If you're out there and you're listening right now and you're like, well, they don't have this one thing that I can find in town, ask Jeff. He'll be willing to get it for you if it's a product you're going to use all the time.
I have people do it all the time, and first thing I tell them is bring me a package, because that UPC, it's the easiest way for me to see if I can get it. I can punch that up, and I mean, that's the big one, and it's been that for years. I mean, and there's a number of ways you try and combat it. I mean, we whether it's the pot machines out front, selling pot cheaper out there, so you give a perception of, hey, their prices must be pretty good, and,
right? Yeah.
And you do that with ad items and things that you put on special yourself. Hey, I got a whole bunch of this. Let's put a knockout price on it here,
or things that are about to expire. Sometimes you can reduce those. I buy reduced steaks all the time.
Yeah, that's the only ones I take home,
because I don't think that they're bad.
No,
I know people get scared of it if it gets a little gray or something. But I've aged meat before.
People pay more for that when you go to a restaurant.
Exactly, right.
The steak was a dry aged such and such. Yeah.
Or I'll raid that freezer you have over there too with the old steaks sometimes.
Yeah.
And those are perfect for like cheese steaks if you want to slice them real thin.
Yep.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Okay, well, do you have some advice that you would give to anybody out there that wants to start a small business or run a grocery store or a liquor store?
Gosh, the last advice I gave was the couple that opened the grocery store in Conway Springs, and I told them, run, don't do it, run. And they've done really well. So
really?
that would have been bad advice. So I don't know that I'm the best one to give it, but you got to be honest. I mean, you can't make it very long if you're trying to squeeze an extra dollar out of people here and there. I mean, you got to be ready to go and work 60 hours a week and make an honest wage. You're not going to get rich at it, most likely. But if you're satisfied with that and that provides you, with a comfortable life, then it can be a pretty satisfying thing, to work for yourself.
Your own boss.
Exactly.
There's perks to that too. Even though dealing with people sucks and maybe some of the stress that you have that most people don't deal with because every decision comes down to you.
Yep.
For the whole business, right?
Yep.
Those are definitely cons, but you're your own boss. You can take vacation whenever you want to.
Yes and no.
Yes and no?
I mean, you can, but you're responsible for so much that it's hard to.
You don't just want to bail out for 2 weeks.
No, you can't. I mean, you're just going to be buried when you get back. So you're kind of tied to it, but I see it more as, okay, if I need to take off an afternoon, to help somebody do this or take my wife to an appointment I mean, that's a lot easier, and it's nice to be, to be the boss, to be able to say, you know what, I kind of feel like crap today. I'm going to go home and take a nap. I'm leaving early, that sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those are all perks.
Yeah, definitely.
It can be very satisfying, but don't think I think too many people think that I'm going to go in and gosh, in 2 years, I'm going to be killing this and, making all this money. It's probably not going to work out that way for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be prepared to go in and put in some long hours. And I work 7 days a week. I mean,
do you really?
300.
I was going to ask what your work schedule looks like.
I bet I'd take less than a week's vacation, complete days off a year. I'm off Christmas Day. It's the only day we're closed all day.
I know you guys are. It's awesome because I
Thanksgiving. Shortened hours.
Shortened hours, sure. Yeah, but there's times where I've forgotten stuff, and I'm like, thank God Jeff has it open today.
Yeah. I mean, you got to put in a lot of hours, and I don't know. I've never done anything else, so I don't know anything else. I could be a moron. I could be an idiot.
I don't think so.
Man, you should be a fry cook at McDonald's, dude. It'd be so much easier.
you have a fryer in the back.
That's true.
In a way, you're a fry cook still.
I can be. I do it on weekends.
Yeah, your deli section is great too. You got a lady back there making different meals now, which is awesome.
That's the key is employees. I mean, I say that's the part I hate the worst, but that's also the part
the most important
that can help you the most. I mean, if you've got somebody in place that you can just say, it's yours, you run with it. I don't want any part of it.
Yeah.
Let me know when you need something that you can't get, and I'll take care of that. But
do you think you have more people showing up for lunch now than in the past?
Yeah.
Really?
She does really well, and it's kind of cyclical. I mean, it kind of goes like if there's a big project in town or something. I mean, we had when they were doing some I don't know what it was, whether it was Abengoa back then or what. Here a few years ago, before the ethanol plant, they had pretty good sized crews out there, and those guys would come in. She got a lot of them to be regulars, and of course, then once that project's done, they all leave, but then you get more people in for different things. And I mean, she does, way more with it than I could possibly do. I was doing it myself for a while. Well, I'm already spread too
right,
thin.
and it used to just be mainly chicken and stuff.
Yeah,
and she
does a lot of homemade stuff.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, it's too bad I'm not around for it most of the time. Missing out on lunch. Yeah.
She's got people that check all the time. They've got their favorites. She kind of goes on like a monthly schedule with different meals.
Well, I know when she sets out her beer rocks, those things fly off the shelves. You got to put in an advance order for those.
Yeah.
Well, right on, man. Do you have any last words of wisdom or anything you want to say?
Gosh, if I had any words of wisdom, I probably would be out of the grocery business and doing something else and spending a lot more time like this and playing golf and whatever. But I say that. Yeah, but it's very rewarding too. I mean, it really is. It's just sometimes you get a little hung up on the day to day, and things get a little.
Sometimes you got to step back and think like, holy shit, this is all really mine, and it's all operating smoothly.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah,
nothing's breaking. Have grocery sales gone up at all since the liquor store's been around too?
Yeah, I think they help each other out a bit.
I would think so.
Yeah.
If somebody shows up for a case of beer, oh shit, I need a lime.
Yep.
Go into the store now, right?
Prime example, I had a guy in there in the liquor store today. I happened to be just covering for bathroom break for one of my employees, and he's like, he bought a couple of bottles, and he's like, hey, do you have any club soda over here? And I'm like, we carry it, but I don't know if we got any right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we're out, but I got it over there. Okay, I'll just run over there.
Yeah.
So he may have picked up, some limes too, and a bag of Doritos. Who knows?
Yeah, you start seeing things, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, I think they help each other out.
I would think so.
I do.
Yeah, that's good to hear, man.
I know it's a lot more fun working the liquor store than it is a grocery store.
Is it really?
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, the bourbon you've partaken, and your dad has partaken in some a little bit harder to get, more expensive bottles, and I can upsell your dad or somebody else on a bottle of bourbon from a $40 bottle to a $200 bottle.
I know, and he's a sucker.
I cannot upsell you on a can of green beans. I mean, it's just not going to happen.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
It's just a lot more fun to say, hey, look what we got in.
You get a borderline alky like me in there, and you're like, have you tried that latest bourbon over there? I'm like, no.
Yeah, but the Crown Blackberry, which we just got.
I've heard about that. I'm gonna have to try it.
Allocation. I only got like half a case.
I gave up booze for Lent, so it'll be another month for me. Yeah. But I definitely will pick a bottle of that up. I've heard good things. Do you ever take like sips of anything anymore? Like
I don't. I'll probably. I mean, I may get to that point. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of
just to try to
early in the whole process. Yeah.
Just to see.
Even if you spit it out, you can still.
Even if you spit it out, right? You
can still taste it. But
yeah.
That Blackberry Crown. That's one I'd probably like to try.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same.
And I've had some bourbons that, gosh, those are so smooth. I mean, you get up there to $200 a bottle.
Man, it's a game changer.
Yeah, they're so good.
You can really tell the difference.
Yep.
I love that stuff. And you know what else is crazy is the selection that we have now compared to back in the day. Like, I don't know if you remember very well, but my dad definitely does. He's like, there used to be like 3 whiskeys you could buy. It'd be like Jack Daniels and Jim Beam.
And Weller's.
And Weller's, yeah. And now you walk into the store and there's all this stuff. There's all these small microbreweries. There's all these micro distillers, and
I'll bet I've got over 100 different bourbons.
Oh yeah,
I'll bet.
Yeah, your selection is outstanding when it comes to bourbon.
Well, it's a bourbon town.
Definitely.
I mean,
bootlegging town.
I don't. My suppliers are trying to sell me wine all the time. I'm like, I can't sell wine. I mean, holiday time, people will grab a bottle for family dinner or whatever, but it's just not a wine drinking town.
No,
I mean,
it's beer and whiskey.
I need cheap wine. I need,
bags of wine.
The Barefoot, the Franzia. Yeah.
People slap
the cheap
at Cheney
stuff.
Lake.
Yeah. But bourbon, I mean, send me that $200 bottle. I can sell that.
Oh yeah. You'll talk my dad into it.
$200 bottle of wine, that might sit on my shelf for a year. I don't know anybody that wants that.
Not me. Not me. I'm cool with a $6 bottle.
That's right.
Those get the job done too.
Exactly.
You get a cheap bottle of wine, By
the end of the bottle, it tastes like that $200 bottle.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you're feeling good, man. You get a good night's sleep. Alrighty, man. Well, if you don't have anything else to say, thanks for all you do. Thanks for being in the community and keeping our grocery store around and giving us convenience to groceries and liquor, and appreciate it, man. It's the community loves that, and we're going to continue to embrace you. So for everybody out there listening in Colwich, shop local. You don't want to lose your local stores. You need to shop local. It might cost a little more. If there's nothing up there that you can get in Wichita, talk to Jeff. And you'll hook them up.
Yep.
You can get almost any product that any of those other stores can. You just don't have the physical space that they do.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Shop local, ladies and gentlemen. Shop local. Thanks, Jeff.
You bet.
For doing this.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I
did too. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
I think people are going to love it.
All right.
So, cheers, brother.
Yep.